things that we've seen have happened within that bus system, different complaints made against the same driver and no action being taken. So where does the fault lie? Well, the fault lies with essentially the system that led to this happening. The fault lies in all of these things combined. Some situations are a lot more complicated than they would appear, and some situations are way simpler than they would appear. And this is kind of a mix of both, making it, I guess, more complicated. But what you have with the bus crash, the tragedy that happened 2 weeks ago, is you have a lack of discipline, it would appear, allegedly, obviously, from the bus driver. You have several complaints from children calling in to the bus service or to the county, and essentially nothing happening about that. So there's failure there on the side of the county, on the other side of the company. And then you have the company that doesn't appear to have adequate measures for disciplining bus drivers after there are complaints. So there's a failure on 3 counts here. It's a complicated situation. So who needs to be held liable? Well, it appears that the bus driver is going to be held liable because he's charged with multiple charges now. He's got reckless driving. You've got vehicular homicide, 6 counts now, and you have reckless endangerment. So those are 3 different charges being pressed against him, all of which, if he's found guilty, will put him in jail for a long, long time. And that's up for a court of law and a jury to decide. And I don't know how they're going to find an unbiased jury. I don't know how they're going to do that because everyone's heard of this story now. It's like the old joke that George Zimmerman's lawyers told back in remember the Trayvon Martin case? Now, this is not at all comparable, but if you remember the Trayvon Martin case, one of his lawyers made this joke during court was in session, and the joke was this: this is how they carried out their jury selection for the Zimmerman trial. Knock, knock. Who's there? George Zimmerman. George Zimmerman who? Congratulations, you're on the jury. And that's sort of how it's going to have to be with the bus crash. You're going to have to go to people and say, have you heard of this bus crash? And if they say yes, you've basically got to find someone else to be on the jury, if there is a jury trial, obviously. Well, the CEO of Durham School Services, which is the contractor for the bus driver in the week's crash, released a video statement on Wednesday about the tragedy that killed 5 children, and actually it should say 6. He says, nothing I can say can take away the pain and the grief for these families, said CEO David A. Duke in a video. What I can say is that I'm deeply sorry for the children that were taken from their families with so much life before them. I can say I'm filled with pain for this tragedy. My responsibility now is to look for answers. And that's a pretty standard corporate statement that you would expect from a CEO of a company that's just gone through a tragedy. So that makes sense as a statement. It makes perfect sense as a statement. There's really nothing wrong with it. But like every corporate statement, it seems kind of cold. And I don't know the CEO. I'm sure he's probably going to meet with the families and try to do everything he can. So I'm not really seeing any fault here with the CEO necessarily. But I am seeing some fault with how Durham handled some of the issues. He said the company would cooperate fully with the investigation into the crash. Of course, they kind of have to. What else are they going to do? But it does seem like it's a little bit too little too late. And is it a lesson learned too late? Possibly, yes, because how many other school bus crashes have there been where children have been maimed or killed who wouldn't have been had there been better safety measures taken? We can't count. We don't know, because I'm sure there are many, many cases that would have to be counted, and it would take way too long to try to figure them all out. So it's a complex situation because you're playing with the safety and the security of children. And these are the most precious commodities which we have. Commodity is not even the right word. That's dehumanizing. Children are the most precious cargo you can have in your car, the most precious cargo you can have on your school bus, the most precious cargo you can have ever at any point, no matter your situation. And they have to be taken care of. And when you, as a parent, place your child in the care of a school system, you're entrusting the school system to take care of your child, obviously. And if the school system fails, you feel cheated, right? You feel like you've been failed by a system that you trusted, your parents trusted, and your grandparents trusted before them. So it's a feeling of failure. It's a feeling of betrayal from the ones who are supposed to protect you and your children. And maybe there's a failure there too, because maybe we shouldn't have this mentality. Maybe we should get over the mentality that government systems are there to actually help you and are capable even of protecting you. Because we know from looking at the numbers, from looking at history, that government systems are failures at almost everything that they endeavor. I mean, look at governments which try out healthcare. It works great for a little while, and then there are complaints, and then there's substandard care, and then it gets worse, and it gets to be a whole big pain in the neck, and it gets to be worse than it really was. Look at the Soviet Union when it tried to manufacture items. Yes, the guns were great because the guns had to be, but vehicles, not so much. Cameras were decent. Televisions, not so much. Radios, okay, they're basic stuff. But when you have government in control of commerce, when you have government in control of really anything, it's going to be worse than any private entity could ever make. That's just how it is. That's just how the free market works, because you have something designed by committee. If a company ran itself that way, you'd have the same problems. If you have something that's designed by committee, you're probably going to run into a bunch of issues. If you have more than, I'd say, 3 layers of accountability when it comes to how something should be done, you're probably going to have something messed up, because now you have a bunch of people who have to write papers. You got lawyers. You got all sorts of different layers that lead to a bunch of different problems. You need a few people to make a few good decisions. That's how good companies are run. You have a few people which make a few good decisions, and they're consistently good at it. In government, you can't really have that, because you run into the problem of an oligarchy, right? You run into the problem of there being a despotism. You run into the problem of there being a president of the United States of America. So you can't have that happen. So what do? Well, I guess you maybe would lessen the extent to which government can control things, but how do you pull that off, right? Because the system is so deeply ingrained into our culture, into our understanding of how life should even work. How do you do that? Well, you can't really, the way things are right now. The system has been built over generations of people making bad decisions. That's frankly what it comes right down to. We like to point fingers at one singular person and say, look, he's the guy who ruined everything, or she's the one who ruined the school system, or he's the one who ruined healthcare. But really, that's just make it too simple. To simplify it is maybe to miss the entire point. You have a committee of people over generations who are consistently ruining everything and making things much worse. You have designed by committee. You have generations of people who are making things worse, but they have all the good intentions in the world. That's what leads to tragedy. That's what leads to horrible things happening. And yes, horrible things still happen in a private system. And yes, horrible things still happen when you have privatization. But are they as severe? Well, we can't answer that question. But are they perhaps as hard to pinpoint who to blame? Well, no. I mean, look at, as an example, Enron. When Enron went down, we all knew who to blame. Enron goes down, so you blame the CEO of Enron, right? It's pretty easy. He's the guy at the top. He's the one making the decisions. Easy, right? Well, yeah, it is actually. You prosecute those guys, they go to jail, and the problem ends, right? Well, unless they have friends in government, which they did, but we'll ignore that for now. When you have a private system, it's easy to point fingers and say, these are the guys who are causing the problem. We'll put them in jail, or we'll punish them. We won't buy their services. If it's a government, though, causing the problem, what do? Say, I'm not going to participate in your service anymore? What do? Say, I'm not going to support you anymore monetarily. Well, good luck with that. You'll be sent to jail. What are you going to do? You're going to say, I'm going to homeschool my children. Well, you can't do that. You have a job, right? You and your husband both work. You can't do that. So what do? What happens? Well, I don't know. You see, radio show hosts are good at pointing out problems, but they're not so good at creating solutions. The solution, I would say, doesn't come from any sort of big committee. It doesn't come from a national selection of people. The solution comes from a private solution. The solution comes from private people who operate in the best interests of their own. And when it comes to children, operating in the best interests of children is really in the best interests of everyone, because children are the future. If you're operating outside the best interests of children, you're operating outside the best interests of really everyone. You're ruining the future. And I'm afraid that may have been what's been happening for quite a few generations now. I think that there have been people in government systems who really don't have children's best interests in mind. And so you have a schooling system which is far from adequate, although it might be great on paper. In practice, maybe not so much. This is Best Shot here on Hot News Talk Radio, rather on Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 101.1 FM. Caller, you're on the air. Congratulations. Hello. And not so much. Oh, well, it happens. Number to call in, by the way, 423-800-8949. That's 423-800-8949 is the number to call in here at Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and Nooga Radio 101.1 FM. We're so happy to have our FM signal by now, by the way. We are now blasting to downtown Chattanooga with our dangerous ideas and our dirty deeds done cheap, blasting down to blasting to downtown Chattanooga. We're very excited about that. And man, we're the newest radio station in Chattanooga. Isn't that weird? You know, it's kind of it's a fun feeling. It's a great feeling. You've got the you feel like you're building something, And we are here. We're building something. We're building new ideas, or maybe not even new ideas. We're presenting old ideas for people to whom they're new, right? By that, I mean, maybe you've never heard of a non-aggression principle. Maybe you've never heard of ideas that monetary, money is not really worth anything. Fiat currency is not really worth much of a thing other than just the face value that it says that it is. Like David Tulis was talking about just a little bit earlier. These might be new ideas to you. And if they are, well, that's okay, because now you're hearing them, aren't you? So being the newest radio station is not a disadvantage. It's actually a great advantage, because you have this wonderful opportunity to tell people brand new ideas, because they are brand new ideas. They're brand new to a lot of people because, like I say, yet again, you have kind of a failure in education. Because if people were educated in areas where they really should be educated, they would know a lot of these things already. You would know how currency is set up. You would know how our money systems work. You would know why we have things the way we have things today. But for the most part, people don't know that, and it's really an unfortunate thing. Well, you have an opportunity to help out a lot of people, especially a lot of children. I'm a big fan of kids. I think kids are great. Kids are the future. I always sort of joke around that I don't really like kids, and I do and I don't. I think children are wonderful things. I think children are great. I'm just not very good with dealing with them. I'll be quite honest with you. I think kids are great. Kids just don't think I'm very great, and that's just how it goes, and that's all right. I'm not really cut out for that kind of thing anyway. But I do want to help children, and a great way to do that is to go to the Chick-fil-A at Northgate Mall right now and pick out a tag that's on the Christmas tree there and buy some kids some presents. Now, this is not to get you to spend your money, because you don't have to spend much at all. You don't have to spend $20 or $100. You don't even have to spend $10. You can spend $5, whatever's on there, right? If you want to get a gift card for a young child who has asked for one, well, then great, you can do that. Or maybe you want to get something smaller, you can do that too. Just go to Chick-fil-A in Northgate Mall, pick out a tag from the tree, and you can help the child's dream come true for the Tennessee Baptist Children's Home. These are children who are without parents for various reasons. They're without a place to stay formally for various reasons. And they're not asking for much. These are not greedy children. These are not children who are bound by the confines of materialism. These children, from the lists I've seen, are actually very, very smart, very bright kids. They're asking for very smart things. I've seen them ask for gift cards. I've seen them ask for Visa gift cards. I've seen even some of them ask for gift cards to McDonald's. They want food, right? They want nurture. They want basic things that we're used to having. Not because we're so great, but because we grew up in that environment. And you have to break that bubble. You have to understand that not everyone grows up being as very blessed as some of us are. I complain about money a lot because I don't have a whole lot of money, but I grew up with a family, right? I have a mom and a dad, and I had basic living and all these sorts of things. You have these things. Most of us have these things, but some don't. And for those who don't, I'd say we have a responsibility to help them, not through force, not through government systems, but through private entities like the Tennessee Baptist Children's Home. And you have an opportunity now to give to that cause of your own free will, of your own volition. Nobody's forcing you to do it. All you have to do is go to the Chick-fil-A Northgate Mall and pick out a tag on one of those trees and give some money. And there's a deadline. Tomorrow is the day to get it done, because tomorrow is the day that the tags will be picked up and the items will be picked up. So if you want to, you're going to have to hurry. And Northgate Mall is a good place to go, actually, because there's a lot of stores around there you can buy things from. So if you're someone of limited means, or even someone with a lot of means, hey, then you can go and get something for a child who really would appreciate it and really would enjoy it in a very meaningful way. Because even sometimes just getting something, anything, means a lot. When you have a good friend and they give you something, it doesn't really matter what it is. It's just the fact that they gave you something that means something. And for these children, that's what it is. It's that they're getting something that means something. And the item itself is sort of a second thing. So these children aren't asking for much. They're not asking for new cars. They're not asking for, a plane ticket to Burma or anything like that. They're asking for basic things that really most of us could probably afford to give. So it's the Tennessee Baptist Children's Home, and go to Northgate Mall, the Chick-fil-A there, and you have an opportunity to give something to these children who really do need it. They legitimately do need something from you. And you have a golden opportunity to help out someone in need. You'll feel good about yourself, and they'll feel even better. So the Tennessee Baptist Children's Home, Northgate Mall, go to Chick-fil-A, pick out a tag from the tree, buy some presents, and you'll be able to help a child in need. And Chattanooga is really great for that, too. I love Chattanooga for so many reasons. I love having grown up here, lived here all my life. I know I don't sound like it, but I did. I've got the unique conundrum. My mom's from Michigan, dad's from Louisiana. They moved here, and so I sound the way I do. It's sort of an odd mix of northern, southern. I don't know what I am, but I am from Chattanooga through and through. Born in Erlanger Hospital way back in the day. Live in a suburb somewhere. No, I actually live in the outskirts. I live in Georgia, believe it or not. So I'm very much a Chattanooga guy, and I am such a fan of how we handle things here in Chattanooga. In Chattanooga, we handle things in a very unique way. Whenever there's a tragedy, whenever there's a problem, you don't hear a whole lot of complaints about it. You have a lot of people who just immediately know what to do. They immediately will band together to help out whoever has been wronged, to help out whoever is in need. And it's really an amazing thing that we have here in Chattanooga. And we, for that reason, I do believe are the best city on the planet Earth, or at least in the United States. We're the best city in the United States, I would say by far. Chattanooga is the best. Because, you see, we have that giving spirit. We have this feeling of sort of commune, but not in the commie way. We have this feeling of giving back. We have this feeling of a charity, but it's not forced, right? It's something that people do because they want to, because it's how we're brought up. You give to people because they need it, not because you're being asked to. It's because they need it, and you know that you should. And that's how we're brought up down here. And it's really an amazing thing to live here and see, especially after the different tragedies we've had, and we've had plenty. People who are so willing to give up their time, their money, their resources to help people who they 5 minutes ago wouldn't even know their name. That's an amazing thing that we have in Chattanooga, and I'm so glad and we're so blessed to live here. This is AM 1240 Nooga Radio on 101.1 FM. That's 101.1 FM in downtown Chattanooga and 1240 AM in Saudi Daisy. We're broadcasting all over the globe as well on the internet. Go to noogaradio.com where you can listen to us streaming live. That's noogaradio.com where you can listen to us streaming live from anywhere in the world on your smartphone and on your computer, your tablet, what have you. You can listen to us streaming live there. We're also on the TuneIn Radio app. Be sure to like us on Facebook as well. That's Nooga Radio on Facebook. We're also on Twitter. We're all over the place. We're basically anywhere that we can be found online. Anywhere you can find audio online, we're probably there. I've even got a podcast you can find. It's affiliated with Nooga Radio. Keon Rose and I do a little radio show, and you can find our podcast. It's called Two Millennials Talk. If you search for that on your favorite podcast provider, we're on it, I guarantee you. And you can find the new show that we recorded actually just yesterday. So good stuff. Not to shill my own stuff too much. But this is Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 101.1 FM. And we have so many benefits of being the newest radio station in town, because there are a lot of things that you can do because you are the newest radio station in town. You know, you have that benefit that the other ones don't, because we're not stuck in a rut. You know, here at 101.1, we're not stuck in a rut. We're not stuck saying the same old thing over and over and over again. Our ideas are fresh. Our ideas are new. And actually, some of our ideas are hundreds of years old. But our ideas are ones that make us different. They differentiate us from the competitor. And I don't want to say competitor too much in radio, because we're all in radio, and I think they're all a bunch of great guys. But the fact of the matter is, you have to be a little bit competitive, because it is the business that it is. And in radio, I think we have the distinct benefit of having unique ideas and unique people and different people who you wouldn't have heard otherwise. Right here on Nooga Radio, 101.1 FM and 1240 AM. Again, we're on social media. We are basically everywhere. Don't forget to pick out a tag on the Christmas tree in the Chick-fil-A in Northgate Mall. Apologies, I'm reading a news story. The Chick-fil-A in Northgate Mall. You can go there, pick out a tag from the tree, and help a child have a wonderful Christmas. And I hope you have a good Christmas, too, no matter who you are here in Chattanooga. I hope you have a good Christmas, and I hope you had a good Thanksgiving, too. This is Best Shot here on 101.1 FM, Nooga Radio, and 1240 AM.
Give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds. We'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240. Downtown Chattanooga's home for news, talk, and sports. Nooga Radio 101.1 FM.
101.1 FM, Nooga Radio News. Russell Stroud reporting. Arrest has been made in Sequatchie County. Authorities say that a man in Monteagle intentionally set wildfires that caused so much damage to the Sequatchie County area. Up to $3,000 in fines could be pressed against him, along with 1 to 6 years of incarceration, a Class E felony. A new announcement from the CEO of Durham Bus Systems, the owner of the bus that flipped and killed 6 children, released on Thursday. New safety measures are going to be released for teachers. A complaint system will be put in place and administrators to be immediately available to Chattanooga schools, and cameras will be placed inside the buses as well. A manhunt still underway for the man who shot a police officer 3 times. That gunman still on the loose. 2 helicopters and a drone were dispatched yesterday to try to find him, but to no avail. The policeman was shot 3 times in the torso, but took himself to the hospital, where he was released within the space of just a few hours. If it's going on the Tennessee Valley, it's going on Nooga Radio 101.1 FM and 1240 AM.
Martin Truex Jr. is off the pace and he is headed to the pit lane. Elliott Powers around the outside. Michael McDowell pops a right front tire. Here's Martin Truex to the bottom. Blaney blocks him off too. Meanwhile, Chase Elliott went 4 wide on the back straightaway. They're side by side for the lead.
Hear it live on Chattanooga's official NASCAR radio station.
Fox News Talk 1240. The voice of NASCAR.
Downtown Chattanooga's home for news, talk, and sports. Nooga Radio 101.1 FM.
Is your career taking you where you want to go? If not, talk to Covenant Group Insurance, especially if you like helping people. Call and learn how you can work for yourself, but not by yourself. Intense but free training, plus a fantastic lead program, plus office support equals your success, your prosperity. Gross at least $75,000 your first year selling insurance. Call Steve or Jada for a confidential interview. That's 855-8484. Maybe the most important call you make all year.
Cash, and more cash. Hey, where do you think Santa shops? Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds. He made a special stop to tell Rick, slash those prices 50 to 70%. Ooh, ho, ho. That's right. Get 50 to 70% off right now for Christmas at Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds. Even Rick's not going to say no to Santa. No. Don't wait till after Christmas. It'll be way too late. Get your cash right now for your gold, your silver, your diamonds, and jewelry, and save 50 to 70% off. On a $100 item, it's only $30. On a $1,000 item, $300. Has Rick gone mad?
Well, maybe a little.
No, we think he's just Christmassy. Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds, 50% off right now. Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds, Brainerd Road, Chattanooga. You know where it is. Hey, is that Santa? Cash, and more cash.
We're at the Cantina at Amigos Mexican Restaurant. Yes, ma'am. 2 orders of nachos with beef and beans and 2 beers. Chattanooga loves its Amigos restaurants, but the Amigos in Hickson has something extra. NCAA, the week's big game. How about a house wine? Really good. Big name beers. Just tell Maria what you want. And here at Amigos, margaritas are popular. And it's only $3 a day. If you come here on a game day, Saturday, a Natty Light is only $2.25. Here at Amigos, just during NCAA, Natty Light, $2.25. Amigos Mexican Restaurant in Hickson. The happy hour is 3 to 9 today and every day. I'd say the atmosphere is festive. Look at that huge TV. It's like being amid the fans under a bright sun, but without all the heat. Stay cool. Quench your thirst. Amigos, between the Staples and Hobby Lobby. Take the table next to mine and enjoy the great NCAA game with friend or family here at the Cantina at Amigos Mexican Restaurant. Okay, it's starting.
Hi, I'm Sabrina with Sabrina Realty Associates. Now is a great time to sell your home. In our area, inventory is at an all-time low, which translates into higher sales prices. Call us today at 423-499-7780 to set up a free consultation and discuss our unique and aggressive marketing programs. We will provide you with a free market analysis to determine the right value of your home. Call us today at 423-499-7780 or visit our website at SabrinaRealty.com.
Our house in the middle of our street.
Here's what advertisers are saying about AM 1240. HotNewsTalkRadio.com.
Radio station, they really care. They're always calling me probably once a week, checking on me, seeing how things going, see if they want to change any of the ads or do anything different, seeing what my needs are. I've gotten business off the ads that you do for me, and seems to be working well at this point.
Prices were very fair. Areas in this town that we aren't able to get other ways, your radio station is able to help us out, and I really appreciate that.
We've been very pleased with the services we've got. It seems like everybody over there cares about what they're going to do, how it's going to work for us on this end, and we've been very impressed with the creativity of the ads that we've heard, and they always seem to be right on point, even without us having to come up with what's going to be said.
I've been doing business with News Talk Radio for quite some time. It's the best place and the best value you can get for your advertisement. The commercials are great. They're very professional. I was actually blown away.
The commercial that they put together was awesome. It was way far above all the other radio stations we've dealt with. The best we've had yet, guarantee you, by far.
AM 1240 HotNewsTalkRadio.com gets results. Let us get results for your business. For no obligation free consultation, call General Sales Manager Steve Johnson. Call 423-240-5459. That's 240-5459. Or you can always email Steve at NoogaRadioSteve@gmail.com. That's NoogaRadioSteve@gmail.com. AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. We get results.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Downtown Chattanooga's home for news, talk, and sports. Nooga Radio 101.1 FM.
I don't like it when blame is misallocated. That always makes me upset because people very often will blame the symptom instead of the cause. Okay, prime example. Right now you've got the whole pharmaceutical craze with Martin Shkreli, who bought the rights to Daraprim, the medicine for people who have HIV/AIDS/ whatever else you have. He bought the patent for it, okay? The problem is not that he bought the patent. The problem is that a common chemical compound is something which can be patented for 100 years or so and then used exclusively by one company or have the rights to it traded off to many different companies for the end of time, essentially. That's the problem. The problem is not Martin Shkreli. Martin Shkreli is a symptom of the problem. You know, Martin Shkreli is someone who's exploiting an already existing system. He's just someone who's using what already exists. Maybe we should, get rid of the problem that already exists, which is the patent system, the copyright system. And I'm not against patents or copyrights. Let me be clear. That's a favorite line. Let me be clear. I am not against copyrights. I'm really not. I think copyrights are decent. I think patents are decent too. But you run into a problem. Can you own knowledge, like as a company? I mean, yeah, you kind of can. Like Pepsi owns the rights to Pepsi, right? Like Pepsi owns the rights to whatever is hidden within Pepsi because it's a trade secret. That makes sense. Okay, whatever. We own the trade secret to what we do here. Although I don't think there are any papers filed about it. You just guard your secrets carefully. That makes sense. But when it's something like medication where anyone could very easily replicate whatever it is that exists because the chemical compounds are very easy to figure out, and yet they can't because they would be sued, it doesn't really make any sense. Now, you might be saying, well, Russell, you're just shilling for the pharmaceutical companies. You're just shilling for whatever. I'm really not. I'm actually shilling for what the founding fathers wanted, believe it or not. Because if you go back to the ancient texts from the 1700s and look at the patent system, it was actually pretty good, believe it or not. It actually kind of made sense. Now, basically everything they ever did was pretty good and made sense. Not everything, but basically everything. They weren't perfect, obviously, but most of the things that the founding fathers did made a bit of sense. All right, so get this. Copyrights and patents used to be a protection for you to recoup your losses. Now, that's not entirely free market, and I know that, but, the United States wasn't. But it never has been. But I will say it does make a bit of sense. So here's what was going on. The patent system and the copyright system was designed so that when you first got a patent, it would last, I believe it was 2 years, and at the end of that 2-year period, the knowledge or plans or what have you became something called public domain. Now, nowadays, public domain is basically relegated to black and white cartoons from the silent era and old music that nobody cares about and the happy birthday song now. That's basically what public domain is relegated to. But if this was a perfect system, or at least the one that they had set up in the past, most things would be public domain, believe it or not. Like a lot of things would be public domain. Anything that was, 2 years old or over essentially would be public domain because the companies have had time to recoup their losses. And this goes back to the old wives' tale, I suppose, that if a business doesn't make it in 2 years, it's probably not going to. That does actually make a bit of sense. So that's the mentality that was put into the patent system. If you don't recoup your losses in 2 years, well, you probably didn't deserve to have a company anyway. Or you did deserve to have a company, but you deserve to have your company tank when it does, because that's called bad business. Bad business people should not be protected. Bad business people should not be celebrated. Bad business people should not be bailed out. GM should not be a thing because GM was constantly engaged in bad business practices, and as a result had to be bailed out because they couldn't compete with the Japanese companies. If you can't compete, you deserve to lose. That's just how it is. If you're not capable of competing with the new business, you're not capable of competing with the new way of doing things, you kind of deserve to fail, because that's just how it is. Now, this doesn't necessarily apply with philosophical ideas, right? Like some things are timeless, but when it comes to a product, some things just deserve to fail. My favorite analogy for this is, if you run a saddle company, you can't expect government protection when the horseless carriage comes around and starts killing all of your business, because it's inevitably going to happen. Your saddle maker company is probably going to go out of business because very few people nowadays care about owning horses. And the people who do are probably not buying saddles, they're buying the horses to race them. So the jockeys are buying the saddles and the companies and whatever. But it's funny how we, for some reason, have that mentality with things nowadays. Back then, I don't think they did. But nowadays, suddenly, we've become Luddites out of nowhere, where we're afraid of new technologies because they're scary or whatever. And it's not even because of like a moral implication. It's just that we don't want new technologies because we're afraid of the old business people who are going to have to go out. Well, that's just how business works. You don't want to see people go out of business, but that's just how business works. People have to go out of business because the new thing came around. You can't expect the tape makers to want to stay around because the CDs are out. It's just how it works. Cassette tape sales are on a nosedive and have been since, 96, something like that? They're basically non-existent, but companies were around back in the day that subsisted solely on the manufacture of tapes. What, do you want a government bailout for them too? No. So you wouldn't want a government bailout for GM or any other company that goes under because it couldn't keep up with competition. Even if it's big, it's not too big to fail. And the same thing applies to governments. Even if it's big, it's not too big to fail. Because Rome failed, didn't it? Yeah, it did, because of a lot of issues. A lot of things have failed over the years, even though they were technically too big to do so. You had things like Rome that went down. You have things like the Soviet Union that went down. The number to call in here, by the way, is 423-800-8949. That's 423-800-8949. And I'm very happy to say we are on 101.1 FM here in Chattanooga. Downtown, in fact, downtown Chattanooga. Blasting to the downtown area, 101.1 FM, very strong signal. And if you happen to not be able to pick us up on the FM, well, don't worry, the AM is there too. That's 1240 AM. But 101.1 FM, Nooga Radio. This is Best Shot here on 101.1 FM, Nooga Radio. And I want to remind you, there's an opportunity for you to give back. Or not even necessarily to give back, but to give to people who need it, who deserve it, really. The people I'm talking about are children. Children should not be abandoned by anyone, ever, for any reason. Children are precious things. They're not things. Children are precious people who deserve and need. It's our duty to protect them and to treat them as best as we can. Well, sometimes that's not always a realistic expectation, and sometimes children will end up in a situation like the Tennessee Baptist Children's Home, where they're being taken very good care of, but maybe they weren't before, or maybe they were just put in a situation where things just didn't work out, or what have you. Well, now they're in the Tennessee Baptist Children's Home, and you have an opportunity to help them. You can do that by going to Chick-fil-A and picking out a tag on the tree and giving a present to a child who is really seriously in need. Hey, caller, you're on the air. Caller, are you there?
Hey, Russell, how are you?
I'm great. How are you? What's going on?
Hey, just want to say thanks for talking about the toy drive tomorrow at Chick-fil-A inside Northgate Mall. We will be there from 2 to 4. So make a child's Christmas great this year by grabbing a tag and buying a couple things off their wish list. I appreciate y'all promoting this.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to be a big day for us tomorrow.
And the deadline is tomorrow, correct? Okay, well, as far as I know, the deadline is tomorrow, and you can go to the Northgate Mall, go to the Chick-fil-A in Northgate Mall to be exact, and take a tag off the tree and buy presents for a child who really is in need. Your time is running out to help these children who really do need it. They deserve it. They should have a good Christmas. No one should be without a good Christmas. No child especially should be without a good Christmas. It's an experience that you only get to have for so long because you're only a child for so long. So help these children out. Go to the Tennessee Baptist Children's Home, and you can actually make a difference. It's a very important thing to do. Caller, you're on the air. What's happening?
Hey, Russell, somehow my phone went out. The toy drive is just tomorrow only, but the deadline to bring the toys to Chick-fil-A are December 13th.
Okay, December the 13th is the deadline for that. Good, good. Okay, so a toy drive is happening tomorrow. Can you give me some details on that? Okay, well, there's a toy drive tomorrow anyway. Go to Chick-fil-A in Northgate Mall. There's a toy drive going on there, and you can bring toys, be they unwanted old ones or brand new ones or what have you. A toy drive going on. Chick-fil-A Northgate Mall. Hot News Talk, or rather Nooga Radio, will be making an appearance there. You can probably see us on TV at some point too, by the way. If you want to listen to us on the internet, go to Shoutcast and search for Nooga Radio. That's Nooga Radio on Shoutcast, all one word, Nooga Radio on Shoutcast. All you have to do is go to shoutcast.com, search for Nooga Radio, and we'll pop up immediately. You can listen to us streaming live on the internet that way, and you can even embed the link into different websites and all sorts of fun things. You can share it with your friends. It's easy to do. That's Shoutcast. Search for Nooga Radio, and we're streaming live right there, Nooga Radio on Shoutcast, so be sure to pick us up there. You can listen to us streaming live essentially anywhere. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Hey, Russell.
Hey, you're back.
We're having phone issues. You're wanting details?
Yes, ma'am. Details on the 13th and details on the toy drive tomorrow.
Okay. Just if you'll come to Chick-fil-A, Northgate Mall, grab a sandwich while you're shopping. We'll be there from 2 to 4, and just grab a tag, which is a wish list off the tree, buy a couple items, and give the toys that we'll have a box set up there, and you can just drop the toys in the box or, hand them to us. And the deadline to take the toys to Chick-fil-A is December 13th, and I will be delivering those 16th.
Okay, so it's...
And we've got there's about 10 to 15 people that have, gotten tagged off the tree. So if you will, grab a tag, make a child's Christmas great this year.
And what organization is organizing this?
It's Chattanoogans for Justice.
Okay, and it's the Tennessee Baptist Children's Home too. Okay. Okay, so the Tennessee Baptist Children's Home. So give me an idea of what's going on at the Tennessee Baptist Children's Home, real briefly, if you would.
These children are placed in the Chattanooga Baptist Children's Home Care. This is a place they go to. They try to avoid going to the state of Tennessee, which there's tons of kids at the state of Tennessee, but this is a Christian organization, and their parents could be in prison, be on drugs. They've lost custody for some reason. And so this is a Christian place where the children can go. They do have house parents. I think there's about 6 or 7 children that live in a home with a house parent. And they actually do go to school. They go to school all over Chattanooga, so it's not one set school they go to. And so they are being taken care of by the house parent. And some of these children see their parents, off and on, and some of the kids never see their parents. So, and there's kids there from ages 4 to 21. So,
wow, 4 to 21.
Yes.
So again, remind me one more time. The toy drive is tomorrow, but the deadline is when?
The deadline to drop the toys off at Chick-fil-A in Northgate Mall is December the 13th. I will be picking those up right before the store closes, and then I will be delivering all the toys December 16th. But the toy drive is tomorrow, only tomorrow from 2 to 4.
Okay, from 2 to 4. And remind me of the procedure. So what happens if I want to bring if I want to bring a toy to Chick-fil-A, tell me what do I do there? Who do I hand it to? What happens?
Okay, I'll be there. My name is Chrissy, and I'll also be with Hot News Talk Radio. And we will give you a tag, or you can grab a tag off the tree, buy a couple items, and then you can give Chrissy the toys. I will also have some other people there. Just hand us the toys or drop it in the box. And if you do buy for a child on the wish list, you want to keep the tag with the gift so we know which child that the gifts are going to. And then I will handle as far as the delivery and getting all the bags and stuff together. So if you want to grab a tag off the tree and then bring the toys back to us, we'll make sure it gets to where it needs to go in the proper places.
And give me an idea of what's being asked for here.
Most of the kids on the wish list are asking for gift cards, Cupelli, McDonald's, Wendy's. Some of them are asking for Visa gift cards. And then just the basic shoes, socks, scarves, coloring books, pens, pencils. I think there's a couple older children that look like they're trying to maybe gather stuff up to move into their own apartment. I think they were asking for power surge cords and, totes to move their stuff in, and just simple things you need for an apartment. So they're not asking for much, but most of the things kids are wanting are gift cards.
Okay, very smart kids, too, to ask for gift cards. Very clever, very smart kids. I like that.
They are. I tell you, I would, McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, Wendy's, Applebee's. So, and these kids are, they do get fed, from their house parents and stuff like that. So they are being taken care of. But everything that they get, clothing, all the way to school supplies, food, are donated from people in the community. They do get monetary donations as well every year from people in the community. So everything that they get is from donations.
Wow, that's amazing. And it shows what a generous community we have here in Chattanooga.
Excuse me?
It shows what a generous community we have here in Chattanooga, doesn't it?
Oh, I know it. I mean, I didn't realize how generous Chattanooga was. I guess I learned how generous they were when the attacks happened, because our community pulled together, and even people outside of our community just pulled together. So it was amazing to see. Even with the Gatlinburg fires, we have people here in Chattanooga that are going to Gatlinburg to deliver the simple things, towels and wash racks and clothing and stuff like that.
It's just an amazing thing.
Yeah, go ahead and grab a tag off the tree. There's about 20 to 25 tags left on the tree, and we want to make sure by December 13th that all those tags are off the tree and gone. So swing by tomorrow at the mall, grab a tag, and we'll see you then.
Okay, great. Thank you, Chrissy. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. So again, that's the Tennessee Baptist Children's Home. This event's being organized by Chattanoogans for Justice. Definitely a worthy cause for you and your family to consider. You always want to talk these things over, by the way, with your significant other before you start making decisions. If you're a husband, you're going to want to talk these things over with your wife first. Not that it's a bad thing to do. It's just, it's a good idea too, because I've been in a few situations where I probably should have asked a few questions first, but whatever. That's just how it goes. So talk it over with your family and decide to buy some presents and give it to the children who are definitely in need from the Tennessee Baptist Children's Home, organized by Chattanoogans for Justice. Toy drive tomorrow from 2 to 5 at Chick-fil-A Northgate Mall here in Chattanooga. So make sure you get there. Be there or be square, as it were, which is probably the least hip thing I've ever said. Be there or be square. The Tennessee Baptist Children's Home and Chattanoogans for Justice are going to be there, and we will be there too. At least some of us, our staff here. We're kind of split, actually, because there's an event we're going to further down south, and then there's this event too. Fortunately, we have the staff to cover it, and I'll try to be there too. So I might be there. If I am, say hi. Always welcome to have people walk up and say hi if they recognize me. Radio is kind of a weird thing, where in radio people don't really recognize you. You know what I mean? And that's kind of actually a good thing, I think, because I don't know what half of the people in radio look like. I know what the really famous ones look like simply because you see them on TV. But here in Chattanooga, I don't know what most of them look like. It's kind of funny. And I like them. I respect them a lot, but I don't know what they look like. Go figure. And I think that's one of the benefits of radio too, because you don't have to worry about people, coming up to you and talking to you, because I don't like people very much. So, yeah, this is this is actually Best Shot here on Nooga Radio 101.1 FM. You can listen to us on a variety of different mediums. You can go to the TuneIn Radio app on your smartphone. You can listen to us streaming live there. You can get us on shoutcast.com. Go to shoutcast.com, search for Nooga Radio, and you can find us there. That's Nooga Radio, all one word. You can find us on Shoutcast. You can also get us on the website, noogaradio.com. That's noogaradio.com, Nooga radio.com. Listen to us streaming live there. We're also on Facebook and Twitter and basically everywhere else. We're pretty much everywhere. We're saturating the market very quickly and gaining a following rather intensively, actually. It's very exciting to see the community grow, and we love being part of Chattanooga. We love being in Chattanooga. This is Best Shot here on 101.1 FM and 1240 AM here in Chattanooga and Saudi Daisy, whichever one you prefer, I suppose. But I like Chattanooga quite a bit. I like being downtown. I think downtown Chattanooga has one of the coolest places you can go right about now. And I mean like time-wise right about now in terms of season and everything. It's just really cool to go downtown and see how different businesses are handling the season, how it's just really good. Downtown has a lot of great businesses you can go to. I spend most of my time, like my off time, if I'm in the area, I usually eat a sandwich in Coolidge Park and read up on the news. And you can't do that in every city, because not every city has a giant park like Coolidge. Like, we take it for granted, really. But Coolidge Park is a huge park when you think about it, and it connects to Renaissance. So you got this huge park connected to this even larger park, and it's probably about, a mile, maybe 2 miles. It's crazy. It's huge. Great place. And there's only so many cities where you can have something like that. You can walk across a walking bridge, connect you to Southside. You can do all sorts of things down there. You can walk to the aquarium. From the aquarium, you can walk across Market Street, then go to Coolidge or any business you want on North Shore. It's so easy to be a pedestrian in Chattanooga. We have that unique benefit, I think. A lot of cities don't have that. Like in New York City, you can't really walk that many places. I mean, you can, but you're going to have to take a taxi at some point. You can easily spend a whole day in Chattanooga going all around downtown without ever having to sit down in a car. And I like cars, don't get me wrong, but it's kind of amazing how you can park and be there all day and never have to drive your car at any point downtown. It's really kind of an amazing thing. The bike rental thing. I'm not a ginormous fan of bicycles or cyclists, but I do like the bike rental thing. If they would legalize riding bikes on the sidewalk, I think it would be a lot better. But I do like the cyclist thing. I think that it's a pretty decent idea. If it brings money to the city, then whatever. But the bicycle rental thing for $10 is actually kind of a cool idea too. It's, again, one of those unique things that Chattanooga has. You can get a bike for $10 and cycle around downtown and then re-up it. I think you get it for an hour for $10. Not bad at all, especially if you don't own a bike like me, or if your bike keeps getting stolen like mine does. Unique situation to be sure. This is Best Shot here on 101.1 FM in Chattanooga. There's a lot in the news, actually. There's quite a bit happening in the news today. Of course, you have the shooting that's occurred with the Chattanooga policeman who was shot 3 times. And so far, we don't know who shot him. Now, that's as of a few hours ago. That may have changed, and the police just haven't told us yet. But as of right now, we don't know who shot this Chattanooga policeman 3 times in the chest. He did manage to drive himself to the hospital, where he was treated and released. Now, I don't know how you can get shot 3 times and then get treated and released in the same day. So he must have been wearing a Kevlar vest. That's what makes the most sense to me. But the search for the suspect who shot a Chattanooga police officer 3 times Thursday morning in the Glenwood community continues after a massive citywide search effort. I mean, they called out helicopters. They had a drone. They had federal people here. They had SWAT teams searching buildings. I mean, they're very serious about finding this guy. There's also a $6,000 reward for whoever can bring him to justice, so to speak. $6,000 reward for information leading to the location and arrest of the suspect has been offered by what they're calling concerned and supportive citizens. The CPD has tweeted as of Thursday afternoon. At some point, the suspect opened fire and the officer was hit 3 times. The officer was treated earlier for injuries not considered life-threatening and then released. His family has been notified, but his name not yet publicly released. Now, if the police officer himself discharged his weapon, he's going to be put on leave until an investigation is complete. Not because he necessarily did anything wrong, but because that's just how CPD's policy works. the Chattanooga Police Department's policy is actually a pretty good one regarding that, where if you discharge your weapon as a policeman, then you're put on leave, and they evaluate the situation and make sure you didn't do anything wrong, basically, and then you're put back on the force. I think it is paid leave, but you basically get a little bit of a vacation. Maybe they'd be offended if I put it that way, but I don't really care. This is Best Shot here on Nooga Radio 101.1 FM and 1240 AM. I want to leave you with one idea that has been ruminating in my mind here for a little bit. David Tulis always says, love your neighbor, buy local. And I think he's absolutely right, but I want to expand on that a little bit. I think you should also love your neighbor and be local too, because to be local is to be one with everything. Well, at least the community. This is Best Shot here on 101.1 FM and 1240 AM here in Chattanooga, downtown Chattanooga. Very proud to be here, very proud and haughty to be here in Chattanooga. Love it here, love the people here, love the community. Really excited to see what happens next. This is Best Shot here, 101.1 FM.